fantastic. It's time for another Master Passive Income show. My name's Dustin, and I help people quit their jobs by investing in real estate rental properties so they never have to work a job again. Now today, I am recording out of North Carolina. My family and I were traveling all through the East Coast. We started in Florida and they're driving all the way up to New York and then ending in Washington, D.C. and flying back to Phoenix. We're having a great 4-week trip together, 3,000 miles or roughly 3,000 miles, and we're driving all around the East Coast. It's fantastic to see all this amazing history. Now, if you live in North Carolina and in Georgia, I want to say that the freeways here are beautiful. All these trees, everything's green. Just taking these drives have been such a terrific time. All right, guys, now today's show, we're going to be talking about all the great things about real estate rental properties and why you need to own them now and why you should not put it off. You should get started now and you should start learning now and continue to learn because when a deal comes, you want to be ready to jump on it. All right, guys, let's start the show.
Welcome to the Master Passive Income Podcast, where we talk about all aspects of real estate rental properties with a special focus on making enough money so you can quit your job and live the dream life. And now, here is your host, Dustin Heiner.
Now, like I said, we are traveling all through the East Coast and we're having a blast doing it at the same time. Now, recently, we just went to Savannah, Georgia. We're driving all through Georgia, went into South Carolina, and the history that we are seeing in all of these places is just fantastic. We went to 2 different forts, Fort Pulaski and Fort Sumter. And then we went all the way to Atlanta, Georgia. From the coast, drove inland toward Atlanta, Georgia. And we went to a great place that I loved. Actually, the kids probably loved it even more. See, we don't let them drink soda. And at this place, we got to drink a lot of soda, and they drank lots and lots of soda. We went to the World of Coca-Cola. It's basically just a museum of all of Coca-Cola. And I've grown up drinking Coca-Cola. I'm definitely a Coca-Cola fan. And we had a great time going through there, trying all the different types of syrups from every single part of the country to all the entire world. Like every single continent had different types of soda, and it was fantastic to taste and also to see all the history of all that. We had a great time there. We also got to go to Savannah, Georgia, and Savannah was so beautiful, so fantastic, and we also went on a riverboat cruise. That was a load of fun. We've eaten so much good food. It's been just a blast. And we are on a 4-week trip because we have rental properties that makes us money when we don't work. So I have my properties, my 30 plus properties I've been investing in since 2006, and every property that I bought helped me to make more money every single month. Now the money just keeps coming in whether I work or not. My property managers do all the work for me, and I want to see you start your own real estate investing business. And that's why I'm doing the show today, talking about all the reasons why you should start investing in real estate rental properties now. Everything we're going to be talking about in today's show is just the tip of the iceberg. Now here on the show, I want to try something brand new. I still want to give you the free investor course, how to start investing in real estate rental properties. I'm going to give you that free course, but I want to make it much, much easier for you. Now, here's what you're going to do. Instead of going through a website and all that sort of stuff, I want to make it super simple. So all you're going to do is text the word rental, RENTAL, to 33777. Now, that is not a normal phone number. It's actually a special phone number that goes right to me. And you text the word rental, RENTAL, to 33777. And in doing that, I'm going to send you my free investor course, plus all these other freebies that you're going to be able to download right away. So again, text the word rental to 33777. Now I'm trying it out. I don't know if I'm going to continue to use this service. I just want to see if I can make it as easy as possible to get you started investing in real estate rental properties, because it's changed my life. That's the reason why I'm able to travel the world. Like right now, I'm literally on the East Coast traveling, just like I said, all over the East Coast. And I wanted to get to you so you can get started. So in a number of years, you're going to be able to quit your job just like I did and live the dream life. Now, in today's show, we're going to be talking all about the reasons why you must start investing in real estate today. Now, there's an old Chinese proverb. It says, when is the best time? It basically asks a question. When is the best time to plant a tree? Well, it was 20 years ago. Now, when's the second best time? It's today. Plant that tree today. Now, 10 years, or actually it was like 13 years ago now, if I would not have bought that first property 13 years ago, I would not be here living the dream life. And I want that for you. So again, text the word rental to 33777. Now let's get started. We're going to be talking about all the great reasons why you must start investing in real estate rental properties today. And you can find the show notes for today. Everything's going to be written out, so it'll be a little easier for you to read through it and everything. So go to masterpassiveincome.com/77. This is the 77th podcast episode. So let's look at the 15 reasons why real estate rental properties are the best investment. Number 1, cash flow from monthly rent. So when you buy your rental property, you must buy them to earn cash flow from day one. The rents minus your expenses is your cash flow for the property. And honestly, it's not uncommon to have anywhere from $200 to $300 in monthly cash flow from each property you own. Wouldn't that be amazing that you buy one property and you start making $200 to $300 a month in passive income just coming in your pocket? So imagine, you normally get a paycheck every, 2 weeks? What they normally do is they tax you, they put out Social Security, they pull out Medicare, they pull out a whole bunch of stuff. But this is money that comes in your pocket directly. It's passive income as well. It's not earned income. Earned income is taxed at a greater rate. It's taxed at 35% on top of other taxes you get charged. But this is a capital gains type of taxable income. So instead of being charged 35%, you're only getting charged 15 or 18%, whatever the going capital gains rate is. So right now, I'm getting taxed much less. So I'm jumping into a whole nother one, but cash flow from monthly rent. So you have your income minus your expenses. Your income would be your rents, so whatever you're collecting from your rent. So imagine you're renting a home for $1,000 a month. Well, that income is not all going in your pocket, but a portion of it is if you buy it right. So your expenses would be things like your mortgage, if you have a mortgage against a property. Your property manager, any maintenance, any vacancy factor, any if it's vacant 1 month, you got to factor that in. You got to estimate how much it would be cost to do that. Your insurance, things like this that I teach through my blog, Master Passive Income, and the courses that I have. So I teach how to calculate all these expenses and subtract them from your income. Now, let's say you rent a house for $1,000 a month. So $1,000 a month is income that comes in from the tenant, but your mortgage is maybe $400 a month. Your property management's another $100 a month, and insurance and taxes. So let's say you estimate that your total expenses would be about $700 a month. Now, anything above your expenses that you charge for rent is income in your pocket. So if it's $700 of my expenses, that means out of $1,000, that's $300 that's going to be coming back into my pocket as passive income. Isn't that fantastic? Now, I have dozens of properties that make me over $300 a month. And the reason why is because I find properties and that basically make me at least $250 a month, if not more, but I don't buy it unless it makes me money. Now, that's the key I want to give you is if you're going to jump into rental properties, which I strongly suggest you do, I suggest don't buy any properties that do not make you at least $250 or more. And the reason why is because there's some expenses that might come up that you might not foresee. Maybe a furnace goes out. Maybe the roof starts to leak. Maybe the plumbing starts to go bad. There are some things that come up that you need to account for. And if you go any less than $250 a month in passive income, I've found that you tend to eat into your profits too much, and then by the end of the year, if you have one month of vacancy where you didn't get rent for that 1 month, well, that eats up your entire year's profit. So what I want to say is cash flow from monthly rent is where you're going to be making your money every single month. And this is what I live on. This is how I'm able to be here in London for 6 weeks or Europe for 6 weeks and not work a job because I have money coming in every single month. So all the dozens of properties I have, they bring in $300 a month. Well, that's a lot of money that I don't literally need to work. All right, number 2, equity capture. Equity capture, it basically is when you buy a property. So you make your money, and I want you to remember this, you make your money on a real estate purchase when you buy the house. You realize the money when you sell the house. Remember, you want to buy low and sell high. Remember in the stock market, I did the opposite. I bought high and sold low. You don't want to do that. You want to buy low and sell high. And whatever you have in there between the buy and the sell, that is how much money you make in equity capture. So just as you buy the property to earn cash flow from day one, you also want to buy the property below market value. This is so you can automatically gain equity on the property. So if you have a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, single-family home, and a market value the value is $120,000, if you buy it for $100,000, you automatically gain $20,000 in equity in the property. Wouldn't that be awesome to automatically get equity just by buying it at a certain price? It's just like you buy a stock for $100, and the next day you can sell it for $120. You make $20 on that one stock. That's 20% gain. Same thing with equity capture. You can buy a house. It's possible to buy a house where you actually have equity built up. So on top of cash flow, you can even have equity where you have thousands of dollars. Just from the day one, you automatically have that in the property. Now, there are ways to pull the money out. You can sell it, which I don't necessarily recommend, which is obviously a good option. But you could also refinance and pull the money out to buy more investment properties, which I have done many, many times, which I talk about in my on my courses and my blogs and everything. So there are many ways to get at that equity, to use the equity. One good way is to refinance it, pull the money out. I've done that actually many, many times where I pulled money out, even from my own personal residence, and bought investment properties because it makes me so much money. All right, number 3. So equity buildup. You as an investor want to get paid for the value that you bring, not the hours that you work. To build up equity yourself, you can find the worst house in the best neighborhood, fix it up, minor repairs, even some major repairs, and painting the house, getting the carpets fixed up. You would increase the value of the home because you're putting work into the house. So imagine that same $120,000 home that you bought for $100,000. The value of the equity capture is $120,000 because you have bought it below market value. Well, if you put $10,000 into it, it may be worth $140,000 or $150,000 after you fix it up. So if you buy it for $100,000, put $10,000 into it, well, you're out $110,000. Well, if the value is worth $150,000, well, that's $40,000 more that you would have made just by buying it right and fixing it up. So there's more ways that you make money with rental properties. Another one would be number 4 would be market appreciation. The fourth reason why I love real estate is market appreciation. For the last 200 years, the real estate market has doubled every 20 years. Imagine that the money that you put into a property doubles every 20 years. So 2 of the main reasons are inflation and interest rates. We won't get into that, but basically the market appreciates. You can see how somebody buys a house for $100,000, and then 15 years later, 20 years later, they can sell it for double that. It's really amazing to see how properties appreciate so fast and you can make so much money on them. Not to mention your rents increase because the value of homes go up. So as the price of homes go up, so do rents because people can't afford expensive homes. They can't afford higher priced homes. So they decide to rent. Well, more demand for your rental property, which it means more money coming in because supply and demand. You have more demand for your product that you're giving or you're selling or renting per se, which is your rental property. That means you have more money that you can put in your pocket because there's more people wanting to rent, so you can raise your rents. All right, number 5, tenants pay your mortgage for you. Can you believe that? So if you go back to the first example, you're renting the home for $1,000 a month. Now your expenses are $700 a month, and that's including your mortgage. Now you're still making $300 a month on top of your mortgage, so you're pocketing $300. But imagine that $400 a month in mortgage that you're paying. You are not paying that. Your tenant is paying that. So all the interest that you're supposedly paying, it's not coming out of your pocket. It's coming out of the tenant's pocket. All the taxes, all the insurance, everything is getting paid for by the tenant. So with a monthly rent that you collect, part of the money goes to the mortgage, basically the principal. The principal meaning you bought it for $100,000. Well, that mortgage pays down that $100,000. Well, also part of it goes to the interest that your mortgage is collecting. So you pay for the interest as well as the principal, and it lowers the value or lowers the total mortgage. Now imagine that your tenant is paying for the property. If you bought a home for $100,000, if you bought it an FHA loan, which is the 3.5% down payment, if you bought it that way, you would only have $3,500 in the deal. Basically, you buy a home for $3,500, get a mortgage. Now, the rest of that money, your tenant is paying for. So you bought a $100,000 home for $3,500, but your tenants are paying for the rest of the property and the interest. So you really bought a home for $3,500, period. Imagine that. That would be amazing, on top of putting money in your pocket every single month with cash flow. All right, so now also, number 6, you have complete control over your investment. Now, unlike stocks where you have no control, actually the only control you have is buy and sell. You don't have any control over anything else. Or a business where you have so many variables where you have, like, say you have a retail store where you have customers coming in and out. Well, if it rains, well, less customers come in because they don't want to get in the rain. I've personally experienced that myself. I owned a business called Downtown Express where we heavily relied on foot traffic. Well, when it rained, people didn't want to walk, and so our income drastically took a hit. So I was praying against rain, but it was good that we actually got rain. Anyways, so you have complete control over your investments because you own the property. Let's say there's a roof leak, and somebody might tell you, hey, it'd be best to go ahead and basically re-roof the entire thing. But you say, no, I don't want to re-roof the entire thing. That's going to be $5,000. Let's just patch it. Or let's just do half of the roof. Well, I've actually done just half, one side of the roof as opposed to the whole entire thing. So there you have decisions on what you can do. Let's say a water heater goes out. Maybe the water heater was too big for the house originally. It's a 50-gallon water heater for a 3-bedroom house. That might be a little big. You want to save some money. Put a 40 or a 30-gallon water heater in there. So basically, it's under your control to make sure that the property is rentable. Basically, you want to make sure the tenant wants to live there. If you have a slum, if you're a slumlord and you have a really horrible property, people won't want to live there. So the property is under your control to do with whatever you want. If you need to raise rents, well, as long as you can get somebody to get in there, go ahead and raise the rents if they're going to pay that because it's that good of a property. Basically, the property is under your control, every bit of it, and you have the ability to do with it whatever you want. All right, number 7 on the 15 reasons why owning real estate is the best investment. Owning real estate is seen as a business. Now, when you own one rental property, that is a business. You have started a business. So as soon as you buy one, the IRS sees your business as a business where you can do things like depreciate the price of the home or the cost of the home over 27.5 years. Basically, your income is reduced by the depreciation over 27.5 years. So if you buy a home for $100,000, well, that $100,000 is deducted from your income over 27.5 years. So it shows that you are making less money. So you get taxed less. Your operating expenses. So your mortgage interest, your insurance, your repairs, advertising, property manager, utility, yard maintenance, losses, etc. All these different expenses can be deducted from your income. So what happens is your expenses are deducted from your income. So if you're bringing in $1,000 a month, well, you're not getting taxed on that $1,000. You're only getting taxed on the profit because all the expenses are deducted from the income. Also, any ownership expenses. So, if you have property taxes, if you're driving to see the properties, your mileage can be taken off, your business cell phone, your professional fees like your accountants and lawyers, any travel that you do to see new properties, to visit new areas, for conventions, for business education, your home office, etc. All these other expenses can be deducted from your business. You buy one home, you have a business, and you start deducting all of your expenses that you use to run the business. Now, I love running my business like a business and actually deducting things that I would like. I went to Texas to visit my properties to see how they're doing. Well, that is an entire expense. If I go to Illinois to look at new properties and basically use that as a way to find a new area to invest, well, that's all expenses. Even your cell phone, like I said, even your home office. But I don't take my word for it. I want you to go to your accountant and talk to your accountant how to best, utilize these tax ways to save you money. But because it's seen as a business, you're able to deduct all your expenses that you have in your business from your income. All right, number 8. taxes on your properties can be deferred almost indefinitely. Now, the IRS has a way for us as investors to exchange properties for other like-kind properties. It's called a 1031 exchange. So whenever you sell a house, let's say you buy a house for $100,000, you sell it for $150,000. Well, that $50,000 profit can actually be taxed by the IRS as capital gains, unless you do a 1031 exchange. Let's say you have a single family home, but you want to get into a duplex or a fourplex or a better home, bigger, better home. Basically, you want to get a better investment. Instead of getting taxed on that $50,000, you would actually use that $50,000 to buy this other property without being taxed. And that's with a 1031 exchange. Basically, what it boils down to is you sell the property for $150,000. You put that $50,000, set it aside for the ability to purchase another property, use that same money, I think it's within 90 days, to buy another property with that same money and not be taxed on that $50,000. So each time you do this, the 1031 exchange can be happen over and over and over again. So you go from a single family to a fourplex, and you don't get taxed on that profit because you do a 1031 exchange. Let's say in 5 years you sell that fourplex, you get a 24plex, a 24 apartment complex that has 24 units. Well, in doing that, you actually take that same money that you didn't pay the taxes on the first one. The second time you don't pay the taxes again because you do another 1031 exchange. You sell that in order to get the third property. Well, each time you don't pay taxes on it, and that's deferring your taxes with a 1031 exchange. So you can keep putting it off. It's absolutely fantastic to be able to not pay taxes, or basically to defer your taxes over and over and over again. All right, number 9, you have no liability but all control. Now, when I say you need to start a business and have a business run like a business, basically is you put the property in a company's name. You start an LLC, and I could show you how to do this. It's super, super simple. Basically, you start up an LLC. In starting up an LLC, a limited liability company, you then put the property in the limited liability company's name. Now, the owner of the property is the LLC, not you. So if you ever get sued for your property, it's impossible for them to come after you. They can only go after the owner of the property, which is the LLC, not the personal person. Like myself, all my properties are in LLCs, so that if I do ever get sued, it's not me that gets sued. It's whoever owns the property, which is one of my LLCs that actually owns the property. So they have to go sue my business, but they can't come after me. They can go after whatever the business has, the assets that the business has, but they can't come after me. So I have all the control, but I have no liability, which is amazing, to make sure that you don't get sued and people take your home, take your personal bank account. They can't go after anything that's not attached to the business as a business asset. Now let's move on to the 10th reason why real estate investment and rental properties are the best way to invest your money. So number 10 would be low volatility in the real estate market. Now I know what you're thinking. In 2008, 2009, I was in the same place where all of a sudden the real estate market just dropped and lots of people lost plenty of money. And so some people might say, well, there's high volatility there. Well, if you were investing for quite a while, you can actually see that thing coming, see that bubble bursting. I just got started. Like I literally bought my first property like 6 months before the bubble burst. So that was a little rough for me. But now, as I've been investing for over, 10, 12 years, something like that, I am able to see the market fluctuations, see when the prices are a little too high than it should be. I'm able to see things coming. But unlike the stock market, the real estate market does not change overnight. Even if the real estate market crashes, as it did in 2008, 2009, and 2007 when it started going up, and 2009 when it burst, you could actually see that coming, because as you see the stock market go up and up and up, you realize, hey, sometime it's going to have to come back down. Same thing with real estate. But real estate takes a lot longer for it to come down. You can see things coming. But no matter what happens in the market, the real estate market, if you learn how to buy the property right, where you're making money every single month, you'll never have to worry about a crash in the real estate market because your rent still comes in every single month. So if I buy a house for $120,000 right now, and in a year from now it's worth $80,000, which I'm definitely losing money. That's what, 40 grand I've lost in equity, but I still own the property and I'm still making a monthly rent. And rents don't come down very much. Imagine coming down maybe $25, $50 or something like that. Figuratively speaking, percentage would be a little better way to estimate. Let's say it comes down 10% off the top. Say if you're renting a property for $1,500, it comes down 10%. It's only $150 down. Where if you are already making if you're already making $250, like I said from the very beginning, where you don't buy a property unless you're making at least $250. If it comes down $150, as it might have in 2008, 2009, where the big crash, which, we haven't seen another crash like that, and it might be the only one ever, but you're still in the clear where you're still making money. And as the market came back up in 3 years, you're back making even more money than you were from the beginning. So there's low volatility in the real estate market. And just like a company can go out of business, that is what I absolutely dread, is losing my money overnight. And with real estate, rental properties, my money will not go away just out of nowhere. Like, the business is not going to go under, and I'm going to lose all my money. Just like if I put all my money in Amazon. Well, if Amazon goes up in flames and they file bankruptcy, well, there goes all your money. Well, that's what I hate, is losing money. And with real estate and the low volatility in the real estate market, I'm able to make sure that my money is as, I don't want to say safe as it can be, but it's really, really safe, and I can see things coming. But the biggest thing is I make money every single month. If the value of the house goes down, it doesn't matter to me, because in 10 years, it'll be right back up and then some. All right, let's move on to number 11. Making money in an up or down market, or even a sideways market where nothing's happening. So no matter what, you can always find properties in an up or down market. If the prices are going up, you can still find good deals and make good money. If the market's going down, where you think, oh man, I bought a house for $200,000, now it's only worth $150,000, $125,000, or $100,000, well, you can still make money there. And it's even better though. So if you purchase the property right with the cash flow from day one, like I said, you're making at least $250 a month in passive income, you'll not have to worry about an up or down market. Since your mortgages are usually fixed at 30 years, 20 years, 15 years. On average, I would say most people get a 30-year loan, which I would recommend, because the prices of the properties are pretty high compared to your loan, and your interest rates are low, so it means your actual payment each month is low, which gives you as much cash in your pocket every single month. So you have enough money coming in to cover your expenses, so you will always make money. So just because the value of the house goes down doesn't mean you'll actually lose money, because you're making money every single month from the property. Now, number 12, so constant demand for your product. That's number 12. So imagine having a product that everybody is always going to want to buy, like maybe electricity. Think of electricity. So there's a reason why electricity companies are always going to be making money, is because everybody always needs electricity. What about toilet paper companies? Their companies make toilet paper. They're always going to be in business because people always need to buy toilet paper. Nobody's want to go to using leaves or whatever else that they had to before we had toilet paper. And those companies are going to have constant demand for their product because it's so necessary. Now, your property that you buy is absolutely necessary. Somebody's always going to need a place to live, and even if the market crashes, they're still going to need a place to live. It's not like they're going to stop living in a home. They're going to figure out a way to make rent. They're going to figure out a way to make money to pay their rent. So you're going to have constant demand for your product because everybody needs a place to live. Now, if you remember supply and demand, if you have more demand for your product, your rents can go up. So as you have more people renting, the price or your rent, how much you can charge, actually goes up. It gets better and better. So constant demand for your product. That's number 12. Number 13. Number 13 is great. I absolutely love this. This is how I grow my business exponentially, is using O.P.M. You guys know what O.P.M is? O.P.M is other people's money. You could use other people's money to start your real estate business by using leverage, or even just growing your business. Now, here, let me give you the scenario. Go to a banker and say, "Hey, banker, let me borrow $100,000 to buy a stock. It's $1 right now, but I'm going to buy 100,000 shares of it with your money. And would you please lend me the money?" He will laugh at you and say, "Get out of my office. I'm absolutely not giving you any money." Wouldn't he? I absolutely think he would absolutely throw you out of his office. Now, ask the same banker to borrow $100,000 to buy a home, and be ready to sign, because he's actually going to give you the contract right then and there to say, "Here's your money. I want to give you money because I'm going to make money on this. And my investment of $100,000 is locked down in a property. So if you default, they get a property. If you buy a stock with $100,000, if you default where you can't pay the loan, they're not going to get that. The stock is gone if they go bankrupt. So they're not going to give that to you. But a property, they have leverage. They have something that is collateral, which is the property. So if anything goes wrong, they're just going to take the property, sell it, and get their money back. So that's why they're willing to give you the money for a real estate purchase as opposed to buying a stock. So when you buy a property with other people's money, your rate of return grows tremendously. If you buy a house, like at the $80,000 house, you buy it cash, $80,000, and you make $8,400 a year. Well, you spent $80,000 to make $8,400 a year. That is a lot of money. You're just going to take 10 years before you actually make your money back. But if you used somebody else's money, let's say you put down 10% or 5% or even 3.5%, like an FHA loan. An FHA loan would be 3.5% down. You're going to be putting fraction down. So if you buy, let's say, a $100,000 home and 3.5% down is $3,500. You put $3,500 down, but it makes you $2,400 total a year. You made $2,400 out of $3,500. Well, your $3,500 that you put down, you almost have all of your money back. It's almost a 100% return on your money. Wouldn't that be fantastic? So using other people's money is a great way to start your business. Now, also, here's a little key that I'm going to get into. This is another podcast episode, but I'm going to get into this really quickly, saying that you can exponentially grow your business by using other people's money. Now, when I say that, I'll give you an example. So when I first started my business, I bought my first property with cash, and I paid cash, really cheap property, only $17,000 cash. Literally, that's all the money we had. We put all that money into one property. After we bought that one property, I then refinanced that property, pulled the money back out, all that money, and then bought another house. So I really only had $17,000 into one house, and then was able to buy another house because I pulled that money back out. So I had a loan on the first house, bought the second house with that cash, so I had two houses with one loan. Then I refinanced that second house, pulled that money out, and then bought two more houses with that second house. So now I had four houses with only two loans. And if you could think, with the prices of the homes being pretty low, the total monthly mortgage for both of those, so all four properties with two mortgages, the two mortgages total were $250 a month. $350 a month. Let me take that back. $350 a month for four different properties that I now owned. And all four of those properties brought me in $500 a month. That's $2,000 a month for those four properties, minus the $300 or $350 a month, minus property management. So basically, I was clearing close to $1,200 or $1,300 with my two mortgages that I had on those two properties, plus I had four extra properties. So using other people's money is a great way to grow your business. Now, I also do want to say that you also want to be wise. You don't want to get mortgages that are, you don't want to just buy a property because hey, it looks good. I can get a really great mortgage for it, and I'm going to make $10 a month on it. Well, you don't want to do that. You want to buy right. You want to make sure you buy the property where you're making $250 a month in passive income. All right, number 14, we're getting close to the end, guys. You're doing a great job. So hedge against inflation. Real estate is a hedge against inflation. So let's say, example, you put $10,000 into a savings account. Savings accounts, I would absolutely say never do that unless you find one you're getting better than a normal savings account, like a money market account. If you go to, I have a company that I use, I think it's Capital One 360. They give 1.5% return every single month on the money that I put in there. It's amazing compared to a savings account, which is 0.01%. So it's not even 1%. It's 0.01%. It's not even 0.1%. It's 0.01% savings. It's absolutely horrible. So after 10 years, you basically have $10. If you put $10,000 into a savings account, after 10 years, you basically have $10 back in your pocket in rough numbers. It'll probably be give or take a little more or less. But if you just throw that in a savings account, you would actually lose money, because even though you gain $10 in interest over the 10 years, your money will actually, because of inflation being an average of 3.5% every single year, your money is only going to be worth $9,969 if you put it at $10,000. So you've actually lost money, even though you gain money, but that money can only buy $9,969 because of inflation. $9,969 worth of things, worth of goods, worth of, food, cars, electricity, whatever, because everything else has gone up in price. After those 10 years, you've actually lost money. And so real estate is a hedge against inflation, basically, that you put your money in a real estate property. Well, that property appreciates over time. It goes up and up and up. And so your money, if you put $10,000 into a house, well, in 20 years or 10 years, it might be worth double, triple, however much you bought it for. You bought it for $10,000 as a down payment for a $120,000 house. And then after 20 years, it goes up to where you can sell it for $200,000. Well, you definitely beat inflation and you've made a ton of money. So a hedge against inflation is another great reason to invest in rental properties. All right, 15, your last one here is you can insure your investment. And this is absolutely amazing. Again, let's take the scenario of you going to somebody and asking them for insurance instead of last time we talked about going to a bank and asking them to borrow money. Imagine going to an insurance broker and saying, "Hi, insurance broker, I have this Apple stock. I actually want to put insurance on it, not just like an option on it to sell at a certain time. No, I actually want to buy insurance that if it goes under, you will pay me 100% of the replacement cost of that." They will laugh at you and say, "Absolutely not. That is not what we do. We do not insure stocks." But what you do is you go to the same insurance guy and say, "Hey, I have a house. It's rented out. And I make $250 a month on it. I want to get insurance on it so it covers liability, covers theft, loss, fire, earthquakes, all that sort of stuff. It covers all these things." And he'll say, "Sure, here you go. Sign right here and we'll get you insured today." And so you can insure your investment. Imagine being able to do that for a stock. Well, you can't. So real estate, out of all these 15 things, probably insuring one of insuring your investments is probably one of the best things, because whatever money you put in, it's protected because you have insurance. And a great thing, your tenant is paying for your insurance. Can you believe that? You're not paying for the insurance because you have that calculated in, and that's part of your expenses. So you're still making money on top of that. All right, so now I absolutely believe that stocks are not a good investment for me. They might be great for you. For many other people, they'd be fantastic. But these are the 15 reasons why I invest in real estate rental properties. There are many other reasons. These are the 15 main reasons. Now that wraps up this episode where we're talking about all the great things about real estate rental properties. Now, I want you to get that free investor course. Text the word rental to 33777. It's completely free. Plus, I'll even give you plenty more downloads as well, like worksheets and things like that. And I will put you into my newsletter where I will send you free content, basically free ways to invest in real estate, giving you more ideas and basically helping you learn how to quit your job with real estate and rental properties. All right, guys, you've been fantastic. Thank you so much for being here with me today. You guys take care of yourselves. I'll see you next time. Until then, have a great week.